Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about deck number 390, the Haunt of Hightower that gets 0 love. This is the buy box promo for Ravnica Allegiance, and it is, I'm not exactly certain why it's gotten the, I don't want to say hate, but the disdain. Yeah, it's not as good as the others. Well, you know what? That's fine. It's different. It's different. And it's legendary, so that actually in my book kind of bumps it up a little bit in power level because you can guarantee access to it. As soon as you get 6 mana, you can cast it, or at least we can. I don't really care about other formats, but 6 mana, 3/3, flying lifelink. Yeah, that's a bunch. This is your commander, though. I mean, you're guaranteed access to it. When it attacks, you discard a card. Now, I've heard a lot of people say this should have been a Spectre and not a Vampire, but we already got that Spectre guy. Anyway, whenever a card, this is, oh, y'all know this is my line here. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, put a 1/1 counter on this guy. Yeah. I like it. My mind's been wheeling since I saw the preview to it, so let's get to it. First off, let's do this a little backwards. We're going to do our non-basic lands because we don't have but 3 of them. We have the 2 cycle lands and a Rogue's Passage. Now, our commander is going to be huge. That was my thing. Yeah, I know that's a narrow win con, but there it is. Giant commander swinging in the red zone. Well, we got other ways, but so we got to have some mana ramp. Now, I did put a Soul Ring in this deck. I chose a Soul Ring for it simply because we're looking at a 6 mana commander that we need to be on the board. We need the Haunt of Hightower to be on the board. So the Wayfarer's Bauble, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and the Phyrexian Totem. The Phyrexian Totem, I have never in my life turned this into a creature. It turns into the Phyrexian Negator because, whoa. Now, maybe I'll find the right deck where I want to sacrifice all my permanents, but yeah, I'll get there. Now, we need some card draw. Getting the kind of the basics out of the way first. We got some card draw. So we've got Sign and Blood. Y'all know why. Painful Lesson, Skeletal Scrying. And I've got a few tutor effects in Diabolic Tutor, Final Parting, and Night Dealings. Night Dealings, one of the best cards that we're not playing. That a lot of folks don't play. Because, you know, a source you control deals damage to another player. That happens a bunch. Even if it's just 1 damage here or there from a static artifact or enchantment or whatnot, or creatures. I mean, that many counters on there, and you remove X Theft counter. Now, you don't have to sacrifice Night Dealings, so you can keep doing this. This is a recurable tutor. I mean, just all you got to do is deal damage. Kind of makes you want to, like, throw a Pestilence out, doesn't it? Anyway, so let's get to the discard. Now, I will admit I put Cry of Contrition in there. Yes, it is 1 mana. They only discard a card. But it's got the Haunt keyword. I mean, he's the Haunt of Hightower. It's kind of, yeah, maybe it's just me. We have the best discard spell that's ever been printed, in my opinion. Hymn to Turok. Sorcery, 2 cards, random for 2 mana. Random, that's the big deal. Now, I'm not running a Mind Twist because, well, quite frankly, I don't have it. But I've got the next best thing, which is 1 more mana to discard X cards at random. Now, Brink of Madness, if by chance we are hellbent and have no hand, you can sack this to make someone discard their entire hand. Now, let's look at Dark Deal. I'll tell you what it does because very few of us can read it. Well, I know I can't. Okay, this is kind of a wheel effect. All players discard their hands and draw that many cards -1. Whoa, baby. That's a whole lot of counters getting put on the Haunt. Then we've got Arterial Flow. Now, this was, I swear to you, they made this card a couple years ago for this guy. Each opponent discards 2 cards, so that gets everybody. That mind rots everybody. And if you control a vampire, oh look, our commander happens to be a vampire. Each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2. So, I mean, wow. Smallpox, just gonna take one of everything. But for 2 mana in a multiplayer game, you're gonna get 3 or 4, in my game, 6 or 7 discards off of it. So it's not bad. Noxious Vapors. I like this one too. Now this does include you. As you saw, we don't have a whole lot of card draw, so we're going to be in talkback mode a lot, I'm assuming. And cards like this take advantage of that. It's like the old Curse Scroll used to reward you for not having a hand. Everybody picks 1 card of each color and then discards the rest. Bunch of counters on your commander. Oh, I just knocked my camera down. Wits End. Did you kill my general? Did you attack me? Did you do something I don't like? You can make one person have a really bad game. Because nothing says loving like drop your hand. Mind Sludge, which is probably a 5-mana drop your hand. Siphon Mind I really love because it's discard and it's card draw. Liliana Spec. Now, we don't have a whole lot of creatures up in her. We don't. She does it. Each opponent discards a card, so that gets, now keep in mind, we're drawing some hate because people don't like discarding. Raven's Crime, every swamp you draw, every useless land you draw in late game becomes a discard spell. So that's not bad at all. Cabal Conditioning. I love the way they worded this card way back then. Here, we'll pull out so you can see that exorbitant mana cost there. Any number of target players each discards cards from their hands equal to the highest converted mana cost among permanents you control. Well, we're going to have the Haunt out, and that costs 6. Ouch. Awaken the Erstwhile. Yeah, they're going to get some zombies. And you've got to weigh that option when you cast this card. But everybody discards their hand. That's pretty... I mean, the Haunt does fly. So it's very possible to just super pump him and then kill the biggest threat. Now, that's an awful lot of discarding. So we've got things like Megrim. I don't own a Liliana's Caress. They're all in use, man. But Megrim, a Raider's Wake, the Fell Spectre kind of does the same thing. So this is another kind of alt-win condition here. Just by when they discard, they take some damage. Abyssal Nocturnus. Whoa. Yeah. And Fear. And then, of course, we have Guess Grimoire. Now, these are cards that triggered off of discard, obviously. When they discard a card, you can draw. And whoa. I know that the Guess Grimoire has gone through kind of a price spike. I watched the Market Watch from Heroes and Legends, and I know he does a pretty good job. He's pretty in depth on it, and I know the foil was was it him or I don't know if it was him. See, here again, I ingest so much. MTG Fast Finance, I think, is where I heard it. The foil copy. Those guys, it's a podcast, MTG Fast Finance. I listen to them quite a bit because, I got to fill up time in the car. But I think they were the ones that were talking about the full copies have climbed. Some of those full copies are just like unbelievably. Now, let's go back. want to go back, way back. Let's go back to the Haunt of Hightower. Now, he says anywhere. Put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere. Like maybe milling. Tower of Murmur. See, I always look for those cards that nobody plays. Because number one, if nobody plays them, nobody's ready for them either. Yeah, it's an artifact. You can naturalize it, whatever. But if they're trading a naturalize for your Tower of Murmurs, I feel like you come out on top of that deal. But Mill 8, it doesn't sound that awesome, but when you think of it this way, it costs 4, you're using 8 mana to tap, target player puts the top 8 card of his or her library into the graveyard, put 8+1/+1 counters on your commander. Would you do that? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sands of Delirium. Just X. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. So then we have the Trepanation Blade. They mill till they hit a land. Now, this is what makes this so nuts, is because obviously we're equipping this to the commander. So they mill till they hit a land. He's going to get +1/+0 for until end of turn for each card revealed that way. But he's going to get another +1/+1 counter for each card that actually went to the graveyard. And it's 3 and 2. Yeah. Keening Stone. I'll 6 to cast, 5 to use. You tap it, and they mill cards equal to the cards that are already in their graveyard. So it pretty much doubles up the graveyard, which is going to remarkably pump up our commander. Now, it wouldn't be milled without the Grindstone. Now, obviously, the other part is banned. Grindstone is not. But against a monocolor deck, you got a decent shot of a repeat. I mean, it's not guaranteed because we got lands, and lands are colorless. So, and then, of course, we have Mindcrank. Now, the beautiful part about Mindcrank is everyone else at the table is helping you win. You play the Mindcrank. See, I have a good friend of mine, Mark. He'll turn 1, land Soul Ring Mindcrank. What you got? So you take damage, you mill cards. And that's any damage from anybody. Or what? It's lost life, but of course damage causes lost life. But wow. I mean, it's just every damage anybody does, anytime anybody loses life, it's going to end up putting counters on your commander. Now, all that's some really, really mean and dirty stuff. Discarding, milling. Those are like the 2 things that put people on tilt. Oh, shoot. All we need to hear now is mass land destruction. We could just full tilt the table. But people are going to be gunning for us. So let's look at some removal. And I don't mean some removal. I mean, we need to be able to kill things. So here we go. We got a Black Sun Zenith. Now, not only are we removing threats that are trying to kill us, we are putting cards in graveyards. So getting more +1 counters. So we got the Black Sun Zenith. We got a Virtue's Ruin. Why? Because we're that guy. That's why. Extinguish All Hope. Murder. Ruinous Path. Hey, we're playing mono black, so let's play with Tendrils of Corruption and Corrupt. Get a little life gain going. We got Cast Down. It doesn't hit commanders, but you know what? That's fine too. Tragic Slip's going to get rid of those indestructible things. Snuff Out, because nobody sees it coming when you're tapped out. Nobody does. Grisly Spectacle. Now this made for the deck. Pop a dude and then mill. So it's like Christmas. I get to kill the dude and mill the stuff and get all the counters. Oh, I love it. Plague Crafter. Hey guys, Hey, let's all sack something. It's fine. That's a whole bunch of cards in graveyards. Slum Reaper, kind of, yes, I am running Roll Assassin because Roll Assassin gets knocked a lot, but I remember a day when this was an amazing card, and I still think it is. Vigilance isn't that common of an ability. It's not. And as part of the declare attacker step, you tap the creatures. And Roll Assassin just, slits their throat before it happened. And by the way, I love this artwork. This is the original artwork. And I mean, he's waiting outside of a bar, a pub, and you can see the guy in the window drinking, and he's going to be tapped. But anyway, it really stops a lot of combat, not just at you, but in general, and it's repeatable. So if we use murder as our benchmark, which is 3 mana unconditional, kill that guy. This is exact murder cost. So if we get to use it once, we've got a murder. Now, granted, we have to wait a turn because he's sick. But if you get more than one, this is really good. Even if this draws a removal spell, that's still pretty good. If you don't get to use him at all and he draws a removal spell from somebody, that's still a 1-for-1 trade. It's still the same thing as murder. Anyway, Terror, Doomblade, Seize the Soul. Now, the new Cry of the Carnarium. I love the wording here. It really works for this particular deck because it says exile all creature cards and graveyards that were put there this turn. So they do actually go to the graveyard. It's not an instead. But after that, if a creature would die, exile it. So this is kind of iffy. I'm trying to showcase as many of the new cards from the new set as I can. And this is what, of course, we've got a Yawgmoth Vial offering. Now, let's get to the other random stuff. I don't have a lot of creatures. I mean, I've got a Necrotal, I've got a Will-o'-the-Wisp, and I've got a Night Howler, which y'all know as well as I do. This is not a creature. This is going to be bestowed on our commander, because why not? I mean, since we're talking about Magical Christmas Land here and beating face with a commander, it's kind of the early days of Commander. Of course, we got Rise from the Grave. We've put a bunch of stuff in the graveyards. We might want some of that stuff. Imp's Mischief. I don't know that a lot of people know this card exists. Now, Planar Chaos did some color shifting. And yeah, you do lose the life, so what? But to be able to retarget spells in black, this is quite literally the last thing anybody sees it coming. Besides that one card that destroys an artifact. But yeah, Imp's Mischief. And our last card is a good old card, Sewers of Estar. Now, yeah, it looks fake as all get out, but this is real. I don't know if this was ever printed again. The little paintbrush thing. What that is or pen. I think is what they call it. Back in the day, you would buy magic novels, and in the back page, you could tear it out and send it in, and they would send you a card. That's how Mana Crypt came about. That's how Arena came about, and that's how Sewers of Estar. Now, Sewers of Estar is the one that it doesn't get as much love. It ain't as broken. However, making our giant commander unblockable with the Sewers of Estar is just style points on so many levels. I mean, it really is. Everybody does Rogue's Passage. Hell, I do Rogue's Passage in almost every deck. Or is it every deck? But Sewers of Estar is the way to go. Well, anyway, that is what I've got for the Haunt of Hightower. I know there's probably better things you could do, like that Mind Twist is pretty good. But without the milling power of blue, mono black kind of, we got to rely on those artifacts and things like that. So I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, I think we're going to shuffle and cut.